All right, thanks for joining me. We are in Google Drawings again. We are going to be doing the Pixar film. What is his name? Mike Wazowski. He is the one-eyed green monster from those movies. He is the funny one, right? Couple of things before we jump in and get going with this is we know about order for layering. We know about copying and pasting. That's important. But we're going to add to this one today. It's going to be important and easier if we zoom in on different things. So I'm going to just kind of move that circle around. If I go over here in my toolbar to that magnifying glass with the plus, I can click here. I can go zoom in or zoom out, and I can also do it by percentage. If I click zoom in, right, then it's going to zoom far into my screen. If I click that again, I can go back up to the top and it says fit, and it takes it back to the way it was. If I just click zoom in, I can choose where on my screen I want to zoom in at. So then I can click here. Now, one thing to keep in mind is if I keep clicking here, it'll keep zooming in. I have to go back up to that arrow so that I can work with my drawing zoomed in. Okay, again, I'm going to go out and go to fit, and now I'm ready to get started. Okay, so we know how to make a circle here if we are in this kind of advanced shape. We can then change the border weight, right, or how thick my line is by going here. But you'll notice this green color is a little bit different. Okay, so I made a custom green color. Now, to make a fill in shape or to make a color, I'd do it the same way, custom or not. It's just I could pick one here and it changes that, right? Or I could go down to the bottom and put in custom. And you'll notice up here there's a box. Now each color has its own little code. So I'm going to actually backspace that one. I'm going to go shift and then the number 3 so I get that pound sign, or you all know those as hashtags, right? And I'm going to put in the number 24EC5, and then that is a 0FF. And then I'm going to press OK. And you see here, it turned that into that custom color. So it looks almost like the same color as Mike Wazowski. I have it right up here for you. I also have it on the slide deck on our virtual learning page for SIS 21 for our class. So I'll start off with just that circle. That is the main shape for his body. And then I'm going to create another circle, but I'm not going to make it a circle. I'm going to make it a little bit longer. But also what I did with this one is I went, besides just my fill color being that custom green, I went and made what's called my border color. So border color is right next to that can of paint spilling for fill color. And I made it transparent, means you can't see the border. Because his eye's up on top and we need it to look not like a perfect circle. So my next shape I'm going to do, you guys know I use this shape quite a bit with circles, is that moon shape. Okay, right? If I create my moon, I can then customize and adjust it to look how I want it to. So I made that one smaller. I made it black. And then if I take that one, and this is going to take some you doing it and maybe having to adjust and getting it right. Maybe I need to go and take that one again and adjust it down just a little bit. Right? You can get it so that it's the top part where that eye is at. Okay? So I haven't changed the order on anything yet. I've just been getting it set up to build on. Next shape is another moon. It's the same shape I did before, except I just made it a little bit wider. I filled that one in, green, and I think it shows custom, but it really is just that green right there. Dark green too. Yeah, just dark green too. So copy and paste, When you set it on there, though, it's going to be in front. So I have to change the order. I'll do Control and arrow down till it goes back behind. Use those red lines to help you line that up. And then there's his horns. Next step is 1, 2, 3, 4 different circles. That first circle on here, if I click on that, go to border weight, you see I made it a little bit thicker, so it's 4. And then I made a blue circle, a black circle, and then just a white clear circle. I'm going to do a little selector trick there and take the whole thing. Oops. Kind of center him up and put him right there. The eye for Mike Wazowski is fairly high up into his head there, where he doesn't really have a head. His body. Next step, take that moon shape again, customize it so that it's thinner. I made it quite a bit longer so he's smiling. And then these are, again, just that same shape, but way smaller now. And this is like the outside here, right, of his smile. And then I made a third one a little bit longer, and then that one's just going to go down here to give the appearance of there being a chin, right? Okay, now we're going to get into the arms for Mike Wazowski. The shape I used for that is what's called a trapezoid right here. When I select and create my trapezoid, kind of like with that moon shape, I can go ahead and customize how wide or narrow I want it to be and make it how I want, right? But an arm is going to start off thicker at the beginning, and then as it goes, it's going to get skinnier. That's how arms work. I'm going to delete that one. And then once I've made my custom color, also, I can just go down here to my custom fill color now and use that green every time. I copy and pasted it. I rotated the one so that it's facing the opposite direction. Give those kind of a line up there. And there you go. There's the first one. Now, the next part of it is just the same shape, but I made it a little bit smaller, filled it in that custom green color, and I'm going to set it as best I can right about there so it looks like that elbow. This is where, if I click zoom in and click on where I want to zoom, and I'll go back to my arrow, I can see it a little bit easier and I can adjust it. It's just easier to do it zoomed in. To get out of zoomed in, I'm going to click there and go back to fit. Now let's do that other side. And if I want to zoom in again there and adjust it, I can. Make sure to go to that arrow. That's probably the mistake I make the most, is I forget to go back to arrow, and then I'm going to grab a shape, and then it takes me in farther, and I go, ah! So be aware of that. So I'm going to go back to fit to screen to see that. For the hands, oh, look, I'm going to zoom in there if I don't go to that arrow. For the hands, the shape I took is just that rounded rectangle. Excuse me. I copy and pasted it. Made it also so that it was a little bit wider on my line. I think I went to 4. Oh, I went to 8 for that one. Now, as I put it on there, it's going to be over everything, right? So if I click on that rectangle, I'm going to do control arrow down until it goes behind my head or my body for Mike Wazowski. And it looks like his arm is there. I'm going to do the same thing here. Kind of line that up so it looks something like that. Now, the last thing, and this is where you get to be your artist here and customize it as much as you want, is I have created some smaller shapes, and I started building and putting them inside of these parts so that I could take out those lines so that the arm looked like one shape. to give that image of it. So if oops, I accidentally put it up there. If I go ahead and grab one, let's try that again. Grab that one, there we go. And set it about there. I'm gonna zoom in, make sure I go back to my arrow. I can start adjusting it, and you see immediately, I'm actually gonna zoom in farther. Go back to my arrow. I can adjust then that shape so that I'm not doing it real exact right now, but you get the idea. So that when I zoom out, it looks like it is just that one shape. And then I made some smaller rectangles, and I did the same thing here, right? I just went in, I zoomed in on that to create that appearance of there not being any lines. If you're fine with the lines, go for it, right? If you want to take that time and really if you're a perfectionist and do a perfectionist job on it, go for it there, right? It's not going to hurt anything. And then you can adjust it there to take the lines out, right? I could keep going with those shapes if I wanted to. All right. So from here, again, you can, let me get rid of that one. If you wanted to, you can use your selector, grab all of Mike Wazowski there. You can move him. One thing you would move him for is maybe off of the screen because you wanted to put a background, something that related with the movie or wherever you wanted him to be. All right, that is Mike Wazowski. That is a little more difficult. I can't wait to see your guys' emails of you creating this Google drawing. Thank you so much. Hope to see you soon. Stay safe.